For 6 long years, the National Union of Students aggressively campaigned the federal government to increase funding for youth allowance. In September last year, the government complied with the union's demands and implemented a $265 million funding boost for the payment scheme, including an expansion of eligibility, aimed to include more students. While the union gave the thumbs up to this initiative, it seems ordinary students are still doing it tough. Kath Courts reports.
In 2010, a report conducted by Wesley Mission found that 37% of students struggle with financial stress. They often have trouble paying utility, medical and insurance bills. The report also found that with the increase of financial stress came heightened incidence of physical and psychological problems. This can often be the case, with students having to defer or stop their studies as they try to cope with financial, physical and emotional stress.
Youth Allowance is a government-funded support for full-time students under 25. Jade Caluso, 23, has just completed her Bachelor of Arts at Macquarie University. While the university study is hard, Jade says, trying to live off youth allowance is harder.
Youth allowance is just such a small amount. I find it crazy that youth allowance is only $110 a week. I don't know how anybody could live off that.
This is a common complaint and experience among students. Erin O'Sullivan and Alex Conlon have recently completed their degrees. They look relaxed with their studies now behind them, but both girls say surviving on the youth allowance was a challenging experience and added to their study pressures.
I was tired a lot and I didn't really have much time to do a lot else than to go to work at night and on weekends and then go to university and then have the time to do all of the assignments that we needed to be done. You've got to sort of struggle and know what it's like to struggle and work and pay for all your own stuff before you can be successful, I guess. Yeah, I don't feel like the universities support the students enough.
Kath Temple has 20 years of experience in education. TAFE teacher and student counsellor, she says institutions and governments need to work together to increase living standards for students and help them to reduce their financial stress.
I think that the cost of courses does discourage people from doing further study, and I think that learning should be a lifetime process. And plus, because they have fees in TAFE now, a course that used to be free is now $1,300, and that is very difficult for a lot of people. So I think your first course at least should be free.
Tom Maitland says that youth allowance can be a positive experience for the right people, making them more responsible. But he also warns that some people can take advantage of the system.
Youth allowance, I think it supports a very small amount of people. In that it's good for the people it supports, and it's even better for the people who use the system and get lots of money that they don't need. And I think if that money wasn't spent on people who don't need the money, then there'd be more money to go to the people who actually need the money, and you do that by a system which isn't means tested or is better based on people's individual circumstances.
I think youth allowance should be increased because it's just, I don't know, that's not enough for people to survive.
So what's the answer? Make time for friends and escape the burden of financial worry. Try meditation, exercise and a healthy diet to establish a balance. This is Kath Courts for the 7:30 report.